The title of today's message is How to Think When Worry Enters Your Life. How to think when worry enters your life. Many people don't know this, but Jesus made a harsh promise to the believers. And it's Jesus promised us trials and tribulation. Jesus said, in this life you will face trials and tribulation. But take heart, for I am with you. Jesus didn't promise us in this word that life will be sunshines and rainbows. Jesus didn't promise us that in this earth we will never be afflicted, we will never be worried, we will never face anxiety, we will never face distress. He never promised us that. He will in the next life, in heaven, but in this life, He hasn't promised that. In this life, He promised you that you will go through seasons, you will go through times where you're not always going to have the understanding to what is happening. You're not always going to understand what God is doing in your life. In this life, you will go through times where you will feel distressed. You will feel worried. You will feel anxious. You will feel troubled. Jesus is basically telling us like, hey, expect this. Expect for your spirit, for worry, and all these things to come at you. It's not going to be sunshines and rainbows. And the truth is, when these things come into our life, we tend to handle them the incorrect way. When these things are placed upon us, we tend to think the incorrect way, therefore we tend to act the incorrect way. And what tends to happen is that we are carrying burdens. We carry burdens. We're carrying a burden of stress. We carry a burden of worry, a burden of anxiousness, a burden of weariness. We start carrying all this baggage that never belonged to us, never. And because we are carrying it, we feel tired, we feel weary, we feel, I want to give up, God. I want to throw the towel, God. I don't want to follow you no more. We feel angry, frustrated. Why? Because we're carrying stuff that never belonged to us. And if every Christian is going to go through worry and uncertainty and affliction, then it's important to know how to think when these things come into your life. Because I don't know if you guys know, but Jesus was never worried of what is my Father going to do next? Is this the correct thing to do? Should I go here? Should I do that? No, He always knew this is my Father's will. This is what I'm supposed to do. This is how things are supposed to play out. He was never double-minded of, oh, one day I'm going to pray for the people, next day I'm not. One day the Lord's going to provide, next day I don't know if the Lord's going to provide. One day I have peace, I don't know if the next day I'm going to have peace. He was never like that. He knew how to think when worry would come to Him. Because in the Bible, it says that everything that we have experienced, Jesus experienced it. If we have experienced worry, if we have experienced affliction, Jesus experienced that. So Jesus had to know how to think when all these things will come to Him. And there's actually what God has been doing in my life. He's been putting me through a process of refinement, of fire, of shaping and molding. And I've been learning stuff. My mind has been getting renewed. My heart is dying to self even more. And I'm learning stuff. And I would like to share with you what I have been learning these last couple of months, because there's many Christians that are drifting away. There's many Christians that are pulling away from God simply because the worries of life are greater than our faith in Him. I don't know if you guys have experienced it, but people start great, but they never finish well, or they don't even finish. Why? Because worry comes, problems come, financial things come, marriage comes. I don't know what you're worrying about today, whether about your future, about your job, about your spouse, about your purpose, about, am I going to get healed? Am I going to get restored? We all are worrying about something. We're all troubled about something. And I want to teach you on how to think about it. And the first point I want to touch on is how to think when worry comes into your life is by understanding the love of the Father towards his children. There is power in understanding how much the Father loves you, on how much you mean to the Father, on who you are in him. We're about to read Matthew 6, verse 25 through 30. This itself has a lot to talk about, but I'm just going to touch on the love of the Father towards us. And it says, therefore I tell you, this is Jesus speaking, do not be anxious about your life. Do not stress. Do not worry about what you will eat or what you will drink, nor about your body, what you will put on. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothing? So he is saying right here, do not worry about life. Do not worry about your needs. Do not worry about, am I going to have enough for my next car payment? Am I going to have enough for whenever I get married with my wife? Am I going to have enough when my mom asks me to pay a bill? Am I going to have enough passing school? Am I going to have enough graduating? Am I going to have enough? He is telling us, do not worry about these things. Is not life more than food and the body more than clothing? Look at the birds of the air. They neither sow nor reap nor gather into barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not of more value than they? We'll put pause. So Jesus is saying, do not worry. Why? Because God provides for his creation. If God provides for his creation, are you not of more value than they? So he is saying, like, if he provides for his creation, do you think he's going to provide for his children? Of course. And then it says, and which of you, by being anxious, can add a single hour to his lifespan? And why are you anxious about clothing? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They neither toil nor spin, meaning like they don't work for it. Yet I even tell you, even Solomon in all his glory was not dressed or arrayed like one of these. But if God so clothes the grass of the field, which today is alive and tomorrow is thrown into the oven, will he not much more clothe you, O you of little faith? So Jesus right here is telling them, he has this teaching of do not worry. But do not worry, my children, because God provides for the creation. Right here, what Jesus is trying to teach the people is do not worry because the Father loves you. Do not worry because to the Father, you are everything to him. Do not worry because you are valuable to God. You mean everything to God. There's power in knowing that God loves you. There's power in knowing on who is your God. Like, let's just take a moment and let's pause. If God provides for the grass, which today is alive, tomorrow is gone. If he provides for the things that are so temporary, for nature that is not even made in his image, don't you think he will provide for his children? Of course. But why? Because we are his everything. He loves you so much that he sent his only beloved son to come and die for you. Think about it. The thing that you value, the thing that he valued the most, which was his son, he gave for you. The question is, will you be willing to give up the thing that you love the most for God? Think about it. His son. In the next verse, in Romans 8:32, they say, he who did not spare his own son, but gave him up for us all, how will he not also with him graciously give you all these things? So in Romans, it's teaching us, if God gave you his son, what makes you think he's going to fail you? If God gave you his everything, what makes you think that he won't give you that little something? Because most of the times we have the wrong understanding when we are worried, when we are stressing. We are more focused on our emotions. We're more focused on what we think is best, on our own understanding. But we're not focused on who is our God, who is our Father. This is something I had to learn the harsh way. When I was in the midst of worry, in the midst of trials, in the midst of, my girl knows it. I've come to her plenty of times and I'm like, babe, I don't understand what God is doing. I don't understand what God is doing. All of these things are happening in my life. I don't understand. But it's not about understanding. It's about trusting on who is our God, who is our Father. There's power in knowing that God loves you. There's power in that. Why? Because when you know that He loves you, love creates trust. Love creates certainty. Love creates reassurance. Love creates hope. It creates faith. It creates rest. For example, my girlfriend, because I love her, I have faith in her. And because she loves me, I trust her. I can rest, be at peace if she goes out with her friends. I can trust her if she goes out, but because I know she loves me. So if God loves you, don't you think He will provide for you? Of course He will. Maybe not in the ways you want, but in the ways that are correct to Him. There's many times where I pray to God, God bless me like this. God blesses me, God provides, just not in the way I expected or I wanted. So please understand that there's power in understanding how much you mean to the Father. In the season that I'm in, where I'm going through trials and tribulations, I have to tell myself, I go outside in the night and I have to speak faith into myself. And I'm like, Felix, God will not put you to shame. God will come through. God is going to deliver you from this. God is going to provide. But why? Because He loves you. Not because He has to, but because He loves you. God will come through, but because you're His son. And you mean everything to Him. And if I lack faith, all I need to do is look at the birds, look at the grass. And if He provides for that, He will provide for me. Not because I said so, but because His word says so. There's power in this, y'all. Whenever the storm is coming, whenever you're in the midst of the fire, focus on His love. Focus on His nature, His heart. There's this powerful story of David and Goliath, where Goliath was on the other side, David was on the other side. And David says something powerful to him. He said, just as God delivered me from the mouths of the bears and the mouths of the lions, so will He deliver me from you today. God trusted the faithfulness. David trusted the faithfulness of his God, of who is his God. So when we are in the midst of the worry, of the trial, the tribulation, the affliction, we need to trust the faithfulness of who is our God. Now the question is, what should we do? What should we do when worry comes? Because we know it's going to come. We know it's going to arrive at our doorstep and it's going to be knocking. We know it's going to be here, either sooner or later. So what should we do when worry comes? And I want to talk about 1 Peter 5:7 first. When worry comes at your life, I want you to do this. Give all your worries and cares to God, for He cares about you. So whenever you're feeling afflicted, whenever you're feeling troubled, whenever you're feeling like, dang, whenever you're doubting, what should you do? Run to God. Run to His feet. Run to His presence. Why? Because He cares for you. As I was creating this sermon, God was ministering to me something, and it's many times in this life we try to carry our own burdens. Many times in this life, we try to do things by our own strength, by our own will, by our own might, by our own understanding, by our own might. We try to solve this puzzle called life by our own power. And what tends to happen is we're wrestling with God because God is working, but you're not letting yourself to be shaped and to be molded. What God was revealing to me is that because we're carrying these burdens, we get tired, we get weary. We are playing this role that never belonged to us, which is we're playing God. We try to be in control. We try to find the solution. We try to solve the situation by our own wisdom. And in reality, things get worse. But why? But because we're playing God. This world teaches you to play God in your life. This world teaches you that you can control your future. This world teaches you that if you put in the work hard enough, you will have what you want. This world teaches you that if you do X, Y, and Z, 8 steps, you will have this big church. You will have this prosperous ministry. But that's not what the word says. The word says, me and Apollos watered and planted the seed, but God brought the growth. This is what we should be doing with our life when worry comes. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge Him, and He will make your path straight. This verse is so powerful because it's a promise from God to you. God is promising you, if you trust me with all your heart and you lean out on your own understanding, you do not seek your own will, and you acknowledge me in all your ways, meaning you seek my will, I will help you. The question is, why is there so much evil in this world? Why is all these things happening? Because people are not seeking His will. People are not seeking the way of the Lord. Therefore, the Lord just lets things happen because they want that. But here today, the Lord is telling you today, if you seek my will, if you trust me with all your heart, meaning when you surrender to me, because you cannot expect to trust the Lord with all your heart and hold on onto things. When you trust, you let go automatically. So the Lord is saying, when you trust me with all your heart and you stop trying to figure this puzzle called life, when you stop leaning on your own understanding, but instead you seek me, my will, what I want, what I desire for you, He says, He will make your path straight. He's saying, I will help you. And this is something, the reason why I'm including my story is because I'm wanting us to understand to a deeper level. With my story right now, I'm in a spot where I don't know what to do next. I don't know whether I should go left, whether I should go right, whether I should seek this, whether I should seek, I don't know. I've told my brother Leo and my girlfriend, I don't know what to do next. But I do know that if I trust Him and I seek Him, His will above mine, He will help me. So whenever you're confused, you're worrying, you're afflicted, seek His will, seek His plan for your life, and He will help you. Another point I would like to talk about is worry is choking what God is trying to produce in you. In Matthew 13, verse 22, it says, the seed falling among the thorns refers to someone who hears the word, but the worries of this life and the deceitfulness of wealth choke the word, making it unfruitful. So here Jesus is giving a parable and He's saying, Jesus is ministering to people. Some of them believe, some of them have faith, some of them trust God for a moment. But what happens is the worries of life choke, put to death what Jesus planted in them. Therefore, it doesn't produce fruit. There's certain things that God is allowing in our life to happen. There's certain things that God is allowing to come into our life, but for it can produce something. But for it can create something in you. And what happens is that if you're just focused on the worries of this life and the deceitfulness of this world, you're not going to produce the fruit. So worry is choking what God is trying to produce in you. God is a God that is always working in our life. Always. Always seeking to how we can improve, how we can serve Him, how can we have more of Him. He's always working in our life. Always. And sometimes He allows worry, affliction, and all these things to come, but for you to build faith, to build endurance, to build perseverance, for you to learn how to trust Him, to learn how to have faith in Him. So God allows worry to come, but for it to build you, shape you, mold you. But if we're just focused on worry, worry is choking what God is trying to produce in you. I hope this is making sense. I know I'm talking a lot, but hopefully I pray this is making sense, that what I'm trying to tell you is stop being so focused on worry. Stop being so focused on your problem. Stop being so focused on what is happening to me. But instead focus on what is God trying to do in me. What is God trying to work in my life? For a season of my life, so many things were happening and I just had the wrong mindset. My girlfriend knows it, where I would just complain to God. God, why this? God, why that? This and this and this and that. Until I understood of, hey, stop asking why me. Start asking, how is this supposed to work for me? So God is trying to work something in you, but you need to stop focusing on the worry. And this is my last point, and it's your present suffering is producing eternal glory, y'all. This is so powerful. When the next verse I'm about to read, when God gave me this verse, I cried. I cried to Him and I was like, wow, you're a God that is just so great, because I'm going through so much just for my Father to tell me of, hey, it has a purpose, but the purpose is so great, makes me want to cry out of being gratefulness. 2 Corinthians 4:16-18, it says, this is Paul speaking. So we do not lose heart. Though our outer self is wasting away, our inner self is being renewed day by day. For this light momentary affliction is preparing for us an eternal weight of glory beyond comparison. As we look not for the things that are seen, but to the things that are unseen. For the things that are seen are transcendent, but the things that are unseen are eternal glory, are eternal. Paul right here, he is saying, this thing that we're suffering together, because he was speaking to the Corinthians, the big church, he was telling them, this thing that we're suffering together is for a purpose. This thing that we're going through is for a purpose. And it's going to produce eternal glory beyond all comparison. This is powerful, y'all, because this makes your pain not in vain. This makes your affliction not in vain. This makes what you're going through, your season, worth it. Why? Because you understand that it's preparing for us an eternal weight of glory beyond all comparison. A wise man asked, what do you think kept Jesus on the cross? When Jesus was nailed up on the cross, beaten, broken, slashed, what do you think kept him up there? Because Jesus told the people, hey, don't do nothing, because I can send legions of angels coming down right now and destroy everything. So Jesus had the authority and the power to destroy everything, but he didn't. He chose to withhold his power. But why? Why do you think Jesus stayed on the cross and didn't let all his wrath pour. And it's because he saw the eternal weight of glory beyond all comparison. When Jesus was on the cross, he didn't look at his present suffering. He looked at what everything was going to be gained. When he was on the cross, he looked about all the lives that were going to be restored, how we're going to be worshiping with him. He looked at the future. What got him there was thinking about, this is going to be worth it. This is not in vain. This is worth it. And Romans says, for I consider that the sufferings of this present time are not worth comparing with the glory that is to be revealed to us. Paul is making a promise of us that if you persevere, if you push through, if you put in the work, what you're suffering now won't be compared to what God is going to give you. If you persevere now, if you push through now, if you're obedient now, God is going to reward you. God will bless you. God will not forsake you, will not leave you, will not put you to shame. God will come through. And this is a certain type of mindset that we need to have when we're in the midst of the process, is that we need to focus in the future. We need to focus in the there. We need to focus on, God's not going to put me to shame. God's going to bless me. This is going to be worth it. Because if we're being honest, sometimes we're so focused on the now, that we forget about God's promises for tomorrow. Imagine if Jesus, when he was in the garden, he chose to listen to his feelings and didn't consult the Father and just threw the towel. We would have missed out on so much. And so is the Father calling us today to believe his word and not to believe our feelings. To believe what this says about him and not what our understanding says. Because our understanding is like, God's going to put me to shame. God's not going to come through. God's not going to do this. But his word says otherwise. His word promises different things.